Should you actually do what makes you happy? Should you actually indulge in everything that makes you feel a little bit better about yourself? Should you do any of that? Or should you focus on things that will pay off later? Like, say, working on that very huge comic book project you've been dreaming about, working your ass off to hone your skills so that you get to actually make that startup you wanted, working your ass off to find a founder to start a startup. All of these things. Should you do any of them or none of them at all? We're going to discover that in this video with a story. So let me tell you my story. This is gonna be filled with a lot of embarrassing shit, so get ready to cringe, because I am ready to cringe, because this is my story. So, first of all, this is how it started. In grade 9, before grade 9, I was a very athletic child. I was going to badminton coaching almost every day, and after I'd come home, I'd practice my freaking arse off, and I wanted to be a pro player. At that point of time, that was something I really wanted to do. And then came the lockdown and screwed two of my years from my life, and it kind of messed up a lot of shit in that. And one of them was it left me with a void of 2 years, and I had to fill them in somehow. So I thought, maybe what if I tied the word BESTSEX of the year? I'm telling you everything in gorifying detail right now. And what happened next was I started getting addicted. It was first once a month, then once a week, then every day, and then sometimes twice a day, and then again it went back to once a month, and then again, to my eventual demise, where once in 11th grade, I just did that shit every day when I came back from school. It just becomes worse and worse. It makes you develop a dependency on it. Well, I think you know what I'm talking about right now, right? So let's just get that straight clear. I was addicted to pornography, and that is what I meant by instant gratification. We can even extend this to a lot of other things that even take a little bit longer. Like, say you're going to an office, and let's say you are dependent on your boss's paychecks to you. That is also an addiction, let's just say. Why couldn't it be an addiction? Because can you live without it? Can you live without any paycheck at all? Then you are addicted to it, most probably. Then what's the solution to that? Should you just go to Tibet and become a Buddhist monk? No, if you go there, they'll just tell you your life is not worth giving up, and to achieve something that would actually make it worth giving up, what do you do then? Well, you achieve something and then go give your life up. And that's up to you, but you gotta go achieve something. What does that mean when it's like paycheck to paycheck? It's your brain has been trained. Like you train a little puppy to actually eat food at a certain time when a bell is rung, right? So now, if you just ring the bell and you don't bring the food, the puppy's mouth starts watering. This is called the Pavlov's dog experiment, and what it proved was one thing. We humans, we essentially are kind of like dogs in that one way. We're kind of primal in that one way. It's like if we train ourselves to do something for a repeated period of time, we automatically do it even if we don't want to. Like if we lust after one thing for an extended period of time, we continue lusting after it even in the long term. So let's go to a different person's life. What about a goal that can be actually achieved? I'm going to tell you the story of Eiichiro Oda. Eiichiro Oda, he studied architecture and he dropped out and he became a comic book assistant, and then he became his own comic books writer. And all of that happened only because he pursued long term gratification. What do I mean by that? You can even apply his story to everybody else's and it would fit quite perfectly. It's that he was an artist assistant to a major guy in that industry, Rurouni Kenshin, Samurai X, if you've heard of it. And he was an assistant to that comic book writer, and he would work on the assistant work while he was also working on his first chapter named Romance Dawn for One Piece. One Piece was his magnum freaking opus, and that is a really huge story. It's a really good one that he made. If he didn't work his hours after his assistant work. Like if he got addicted to the paycheck, what would he do? He just come home, look at Netflix, chill, and pass a night out, and wake up with no purpose at all. And that is Eiichiro Oda's story. If he lived paycheck to paycheck as an assistant, how would One Piece be created? Somebody had to do that, right? So you're supposed to have a long term goal, and it is really hard to pursue it as well. Sometimes it gives you a fear. Sometimes you even fear achieving it because your brain thinks you're an inadequate piece of shit. Has happened to me as well. By purpose, I don't essentially mean that you have to have a very clear definition of what you want to do and what you don't want to do. All you need to have is an idea of what problems you want to solve in the nearing future. And that is what I mean by purpose. Don't mistake it with everything else. Don't mistake it with everything else. What am I saying? Yeah, let's continue. And what you have to do is just keep going. As Uncle Aaron to Miles would put it when he was dying. Miles Morales, if you've never heard of him, he's like the Black Spider Man. Not in a bad way, they actually made a really cool story around it. Check it out if you've never checked it out. And yep, that was the end of this video. Hope you learned something. Hope you learned why long term gratification is better than instantly jerking your shit off. And yeah, let's continue in another video that's put right on screen. And we'll continue talking there. Goodbye.